York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.
What's going on? This is Jay Ellis from Nick of Time Show. Here to give you that Knicks talk, just the nick of time, and it's time to talk about Knicks free agency, man, because it's 6 p.m. After 6 p.m. on the dot, there's been free agency news flying all over the place, and some of them include the Knicks, and we're going to talk about it all, right? Jordan Clarkson, Russell Westbrook, Horford, we're talking about it all right? But before we talk about it, let me introduce you to our guys. First and foremost, it is the Latin assassin, ESPN contributor, Bleacher Report contributor, Escobedo. What's good, Lee?
Yo, the apocalypse has risen, man. Mitch Twitter is going insane over everything we haven't done and the one move that it seems like we have done. It's never enough for Mitch Twitter. There's currently 3 spaces going on about what is and isn't happening. So I'm excited to be with 2 of my favorite people to talk it.
Let's go. Level-headed Hive in here, in the building. Also we have Mr. NBA Economy himself, the best mod in the game, who also doubles as one of the co-hosts on the KOT show on occasion. Shout out to our guy, Fritz Alessandro. What's going on, Fritz?
Hey, what's going on? Our new championship run starts today, I guess.
I guess so.
I guess
so. Listen, with the Pacers out with injury and the Cavs doing all these weird moves, you just never know. You just never know. It looks prime for the Knicks to make some moves, and the Knicks have already started making moves, although there's not official. Knicks have already started to make some moves. Oh, wait a minute! Before I even get started, my man. It's in the building. Ryan G. Let's go. Oh. Ryan G is in the building. Ryan G, you were like a drummer, man, because you were right on time.
I see. Glad to be here. Glad to be here. Lately, I've been feeling like a special guest of some sort. Like, like everybody does the introductions and they go through the show. All of a sudden, they're like, hey, we have a special guest today. Ryan G's in the building. How you doing?
Oh my gosh, Ryan! I mean, I've been here all season, so I feel like people are starting to get readjusted to you getting back here. But we're glad to have you for sure, man.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here.
All right, now let's get to it. So, like I said before, free agency has started and Knicks have been in the news lately. And although there has been big news that's not official exactly yet, it seems like the news is already in the bag. First, I saw Ian Begley mention 2 players that the Knicks have interest in, and those players also had interest in us. Those 2 players are Russell Westbrook and Jordan Clarkson. The Knicks were interested in both players. Both players showed interest in us. As time went on, we then see that Jordan Clarkson got sent to the waiver wire. After years of Danny Ainge trying to squeeze every inch of value out of the players, trying to get first-round picks for this player, 2 first rounds for that, holding Jordan Clarkson hostage every free agency, February, January. He lets them hit waiver wires, and guess what? It looks like the Knicks are favorite to get Jordan Clarkson. And Ian even said it. He said Jordan Clarkson is expected to sign with the New York Knicks after he clears free agency waivers, sources tell ESPN. So, our esteemed panel, and shoot, I want to start with Lee because we had like a Jordan Clarkson thing last season that we talked about. So I feel like it would be apropos if we started with Lee. Lee, what do you think about Jordan Clarkson joining the New York Knicks at a bet minimum price, mind you?
No one knows my up and down love affair with Jordan Clarkson like you. He has at times been the number one target I've wanted to trade for, and at times I've said it's my absolute worst take. I went back and forth on that so many times. I spent the day today convincing myself and talking myself into Jordan Clarkson as a plus because originally on my bid board, which is basically a dry erase board in my living room, I had written down the free agents I thought were interesting, and Jordan Clarkson was nowhere near it. In fact, he was in a little corner of that list of guys I absolutely did not want to go after and sign and trade. But things changed once he was bought out and became a free agent. I think it's very hard to make an argument that this is not a good value deal. At the vet minimum, someone who is coming off of an $18-20 million contract, excellent business by Leon Rose at 33 years old. Jordan Clarkson brings you one of the things that every Leon target must have, from DeLon Wright to Cameron Payne, a lot of playoff experience. And Jordan Clarkson has that in the years when Quinn Snyder was a coach with Spida and Gobert. They were in the playoffs consistently year over year. And I think Jordan Clarkson was also in the running at one time for sixth man of the year as well. There's good and bad to him, and the bad I'll go over quickly. He's an ass crack defender. He kind of has a me first, shoot first attitude where his offense does not come in the rhythm of the team. It also rarely comes inside of a set. It usually comes as either a bailout or an ISO opportunity, or he'll come off a ball screen and he'll dribble for a high amount of time. Then he'll take a shot, typically a very low efficiency, high difficulty shot, but he's very good at making those. Also, he's not someone that's really ever been a leader on the court. Sometimes he's had some temperamental attitudes on and off. Not really sure how he's going to fit into our lineup, but we got a lot of nerdy, soft guys that are in our locker room. One of my positives is that he's a dog. I like that chirpiness. I like that moxie that he brings. I think we needed one or two assholes on this team. Maybe every team needs an asshole. I might be the KOT asshole. Who knows? Every good team needs one. And I'm glad we have one who can actually play because PJ Tucker is absolute washed. So this time we finally has a dog. Maybe he doesn't play defense, but he will be on the court. I like the fit with him and Deuce Bride. It's very interesting now, adding Jordan Clarkson in this deal. Not going for someone really cheap like Cameron Payne, but going after someone who could give you, hypothetically, in lower volume that he'll have in Utah, lower usage that he'll have in Utah, 12, 14 points a game. That's very realistic. How does that affect Deuce's role, Deuce's shot selection, and Deuce's diet when he's in the game as well? Are they play together? Are they staggered? Because Clarkson can close with Brunson, hypothetically, in terms of height and skill set, but defensively, now you have a massive liability. Lots of unanswered questions. Does this make Deuce Bride tradable at this point? I think Deuce is probably the most likely player to be traded of any of the core seven. This is just my opinion. We can talk about that later if you want as well. Overall, I think this is a very, very, very solid signing. Very, very, very good business. On the business end, I'm giving it A plus in terms of how much you spent, what it cost you, how he fits financially. On the court product, I think he's a huge boom. He's the first guy we have off the bench who naturally create offense for himself on an island. We haven't had that maybe Alec Burks might be the last time we've had someone who can do that at the consistency rate that Jordan
Alec Burks.
So I like that aspect of it. Overall, I think a really solid signing, and I think it opens up some questions in the future for how Leon is going to navigate the salary cap moving forward and who becomes available for trade.
Yeah, it's really hard to be mad at anybody we sign at that minimum. I'm not gonna load. I'm not, like, even guys who I'm just like, I'm not really a fan of this dude. And it's like, well, you're gonna play him $1.4 million. I'm like, okay, well, even if I'm not a fan at 1.4 million, I can talk myself into being a fan. That's how kind of I feel about with Jordan Clarkson right now. Is like I've never really been a big fan of his. Like, I understand because he's been kind of inefficient for around 40% from the field. 3-point shot has been wavering. Although I did check, I think he's shooting like 36% from three. Actually, I think he's shooting like 46% last season from the corner, which is surprising.
No way. No way.
Hold on. Me double check. Me going to clean the glass real quick.
I remember when we pulled up all the stats of all the different guys that we all wanted. And I remember he was like dark blue in the corner specifically as a shooter.
Hold on. Let me see. Maybe not make myself a liar right now. Do I have the share screen available for the 4-player. Or share screen 4. Let's see. Oh, look at that. Oh man, look at look. We had the old Bogdanovich contract on here. That's interesting. But shout out to Bogdanovich, who actually retired.
Yep. Shout out.
Last game he played was in a Knicks jersey.
Last game he played was in the Knicks jersey. So shout out to him, who actually retired, man, and gave us his last, really.
Yep. Played his ass off before he got injured against Indiana.
Sure did, man.
I was a fan.
Yeah.
Did his thing with us. All right. Looking at Jordan Clarkson's stats on cleaning the glass. Let's see. Okay, all three shooting accuracy, all three, he shot 37%, 60th percentile. Non-corner three, 47th percentile. Corner three last season, 80th percentile.
Career best
at 46%. Second career best. He shot in the 100th percentile in a very brief stint with Cleveland when he finished his year from transferring from Los Angeles to Cleveland. But when you got the short, when you have the short, your numbers get skewed when you don't play that many games sometimes.
Sure.
So you can take that with a grain of salt. So for all intents and purposes, you can say this year was the best season since it was a complete season in one team. So yeah, I'll say that. I'll definitely say that. He's definitely had a lot of corner 3 years when he was really bad, for sure. Yes. But the last 3 have actually been pretty decent. 46% from 3 in the corner this year. The year before that, 41. The year before that, 40. And yeah. So the last 3 years are actually good. The year before that it's been bad. 34%, 28%. So yeah. Still have, that's a little bit more encouraging that he can hit that corner 3. And that he can the one good thing that he does do for us is he does give us some scoring punch off the bench. That's something that we did need, although kind of helter-skelter sometimes. At $1.4 million, I'm not really gonna complain. I don't know, Fritz, if you want to add anything to
that. Yeah, it's really nice to have him on the team. He's coming from like years and years of losing in Utah, and it'd be really nice to have someone who wants to be here. We were at the top of his list. So it's really nice to have him. Volume shooter. All year we've been talking about who's going to generate offense, who's going to do anything when Brunson is off the floor, and he takes care of some of that. So it'll be nice to have him on the floor. We see that he has good chemistry with Josh Hart.
Yeah.
So
ex-teammates.
So it's gonna be pretty nice having a Cam upgrade, and that's how I'm gonna look at it, as a Cam upgrade.
Cam upgrade. Both kind of helter-skelter, so it is what it is. Ryan, what you thinking, man?
Well, I'm fully on board with bringing Jordan Clarkson to the Knicks. At the price, you really can't beat that. It's a guy that scores 16 points per game for his career, and historically he's been a sixth man coming off the bench for most of the teams he's played for. He's won six man a year once, so he has that pedigree. And I think from when Quick was traded away from the Knicks haven't had that guy off the bench who could actually provide more than 10 points per game off the bench, and Clarkson brings that. And I think that also helped Brunson as well, because these past few seasons Knicks had to pretty much overuse Brunson a bit because they didn't really have nobody come off the bench who can actually provide some type of offense when he's on the bench. So the fact that you bring in a guy that can play, hybrid guard, can play the 1, the or 2, he can get buckets. I think that helps Brunson as well to get more rest on the bench. You have somebody who can come off the bench and actually, create on offense and, shots for himself and things of that nature. And it's encouraging that he's been a better shooter from the corner as well. So I see this as a home run signing for the Knicks. what MLE 1.4 mil, however much they're going to pay him, and he can give you that kind of production. I don't see how that's not a win for the Knicks.
Yeah.
Great.
So go ahead, Lee.
Oh, I just said we haven't had someone who can get buckets. When Brunson's off or Cat is in foul trouble, we struggle. OG and Bridges have shown to be very inconsistent as reliable third options. They can do it, but they're consistent with it. Josh Hart, if you play off him and give him the three, you can pretty much take away his mid range and driving ability. So we need someone who can come in and get their own shot. While Clarkson's not the most efficient, he has not only gotten his shot in the regular season, he historically is a better player in the postseason, which Leon Rose also loves to go after those kind of guys as well. So I'm a fan of this signing, and I don't think we're probably going to do much more than this. I'm predicting maybe one or two other pieces, and I hope we get a chance to talk about who else we think could be on the horizon now that a lot of the board has been cleared off.
Yeah, to me, this signals that Russell Westbrook probably will not be a Knick. I don't know if anybody's heartbroken that Russell Westbrook is not a Knick. Is anybody heartbroken?
Hell no. Just
Nah,
Russell Westbrook.
I love Russ, but with the way the Knicks are currently constructed, I don't see how he fits in on this Knicks roster. But I love Russ though. Like when he was back at OKC, that was my guy. That was my guy.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that was Ryan's favorite player back when we was doing the KOT shows in 16, 17, whatever.
Yes, sir. That was my guy. But nowadays he doesn't fit on this Knicks roster.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Stephen Bondy kind of reiterated that with his last tweet when he mentioned that he doesn't see Russell Westbrook coming here because he doesn't like really playing that bench role. So Russell Westbrook Jordan Clarkson being a Knick pretty much closes the door on Russell Westbrook in my eyes anyway. And we get a guy who we get some toughness back, man. We lost a little bit of toughness with Devo. We get some toughness back. We don't really have the ability to play like the double guard lineup because he's a defensive liability. So whatever coach we have next is gonna have a lot to work with on the defensive side between him and Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. Gonna be a lot of work to do on the defensive side, but we do get a scorer off the bench that can spell Jalen Brunson for cheap for at least 15, 20 minutes a game.
Right. If he doesn't work, cut him. Try to sign somebody else. Like that's a great thing about him too. It's not a contract you can't get rid of. It's easy to dismiss it if it doesn't work and move on to another option, which again, A+ for the business side of things. I love it.
There has been other free agent signings that have been confirmed targets. Even though talking about a lot of speculation, there have been some confirmed targets. Al Horford, it's somebody we mentioned in our free agent episode about I think I was interested in him. I believe Fritz was also interested as well, and I think Lee was too. Al Horford is drawing interest from many teams in the league, including the Knicks. Shout out to Mike Scotto. He says Al Horford has received interest from several contending teams since the start of free agency, including Boston Celtics, of course. And the Boston Celtics does not have the money to re-sign Al Horford, and not as much money as the other contending teams on this list. Golden State Warriors, New York Knicks, Denver Nuggets, Cleveland Cavaliers are the teams mentioned via Hoops Hype. So I know I'm excited about the prospect of having an actual forward center here who can play defense and can actually kind of help maybe mentor Cat a little bit. What do you guys think about the addition of Al Horford coming to the Knicks or the possibility of it?
I'm for it. Again, another a guy with a veteran with a championship experience. I think that's sorely needed on this team. And a guy that, he can come off the bench, he can provide, some minutes for you. He can shoot the three. Not a liability on defense. A guy that, can definitely help out the bench and help out other guys as well. I do think it's a positive that he is good friends with Cat. So I do think that's a positive as well. And overall, I see it as a pretty good signing. I mean, again, at the price, it's like you can't beat that.
Yeah, I agree.
I like this idea a lot. championship experience, the Dominican Latino flavor with him and Karl-Anthony Towns. Super cool. I'm sure he would love to play in a city like New York after spending time in the most racist cesspool of America in Boston. So I think there's some positives there for both him and the team. If that was a marriage, I think the Warriors and the Knicks are probably going to be the two most likely outcomes. I'm hearing a lot of rumblings that the Warriors are now in the lead for his services after losing Kevon Looney. Does make sense to add some stability there, and that's a team that he has a lot of experience with as well, playing against them in the finals with under Emo Udoka. So Horford, great. I don't think that position. I don't think we're as desperate to fill that role as we were the backup point guard role. I think the backup point guard role was the most important free agent need that we had outside of Fritz would agree with me, that fifth starter that I think we need to find. I think off the bench, the backup point guard was very crucial. I think that's why it was handled first. And now I think Al Horford will just be an icing on top if we get him. But there's some other options I think we could look at. But overall, yeah, hell yeah, I'm on board with Al Horford.
Yeah, also it would be a win-win. So you add to your team while subtracting from the Celtics. I'm all for it. And
Good point.
he brings a lot of experience, a lot of playoff experience. He I think he would be a very good person to mentor Cat even at his age.
Yeah.
So I think it would be it'd be very advantageous to have him on the team.
Hey, Fred's cooking. Agreed.
I agree. I agree. Go ahead, Ryan. Ryan? No? Okay. Right. He's like, I got nothing to add, man. Y'all cooked already. Well,
Wait. I'm the first. I was the first one to say something. Like I went already, so I was like, I'm good.
oh my bad. Well, it's funny. Horford's had like a down year, a little bit from three. But I still feel like he gives you something defensively, and he can still shoot the three at a decent clip. Hopefully, he has something left in the tank. Who do you think we go after if we don't get Horford? Though, I think that's the real question.
I got two options. Go ahead, Fritz.
Larry Nance Jr. is one.
Come on now, can we get Larry Nance Jr. in the building? That's my target right now, y'all. You saw me with the last free agency show talk about Larry Nance Jr. That's the guy I want. That's the guy. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Say how excited.
Yeah, you know what? I was surprised at his age, but he's a guy who kind of fills a few roles. You kind of need a guy who can kind of do whatever you need him to do. We know Precious won't be there this season, so you kind of need somebody who can fill a role. But if he has to play a few more minutes, it's not going to kill Larry Nance to put a few more minutes in there.
Yeah, he's a better Precious than Precious to me. Like, he's like that switch army knife guy who can run the floor, but he actually hits some jump shots and hits the three. He's been hitting the three at a higher clip last season. We got to go after Larry, man. Please, Leon. Please. That's the move.
I actually have a choice that I think is even better move than Larry Nance Jr. Larry Nance Jr. was one of my two options because Jay Ellis had talked about him like a week or two ago. He was one of his top targets, and I think he makes sense age-wise. Finals experience with the Cleveland Cavaliers. If I remember, he was part of their main rotation. Gerson Yabusele. It is time to bring the French Prince to NYC finally. We had his rights before. We squandered them. He went to Philly, averaged 11, 7, and 2 on 50% field goal shooting, 38% from three. My boy is a tough, grimy, gritty Frenchman. Very rare to see a Parisian with that level of athleticism and dirty, grimy game. I think he would be a perfect complement. He would be what we wanted Precious to be, which is someone who can do all the dirty work, nets the cat, guard in the pick and roll in that pre-switch, keep the rim from being a open turnstile, and also hit the corner three when open on the other side. I think he is a perfect fit. I think he's younger and athletic and a better long-term fit and short-term than Larry Nance Jr. And I think he's a better player right now than Al Horford, because when I watched that series in Boston, Horford clearly lost a step defensively, and they really relied on him when they switched everything to be that five who can guard ones and twos, and he got cooked. by Brunson and by Hart and by Bridges. So I like Yabusele. I think he is a free agent. For what I'm hearing on the reporters that cover the Sixers, he will not be returning. Right now, I've heard the Spurs have very strong interest in signing him, but I think the Knicks, because of the prior relationship, let's not screw this up twice. Go get me Yabusele. He's the one guy that I'm like cool with in terms of new additions. He's really the last one I'm looking at now, but Gary Trent Jr. is off the board. I think Yabusele, re-sign Shamit. Let's start a war.
I'm not gonna lie, I can't say I'm super familiar with Yabusele. I do trust Lee when it comes to things like that, though. So I'll take a look. I'll take a deeper look at him and see what he has. You have something to say, Fritz?
No, he last year when he got signed, we really thought he was going to be like end of the bench, but he ended up putting a lot of minutes on the 76ers, and he can really play power forward, center. I think he is looking to get his minutes. He's not a young kid who's just looking to just break into the NBA. He is 29 years old. He wants to play. He wants to play now.
Yeah. And if you look at what the Spurs have depth-wise, while adding Luke Cornett and having Keldon Johnson and Charles Bassey and then Wembanyama, their four-man rotation on the bigs is fairly filled with guys who also need to be playing, specifically Keldon outside of Wemby. So I looked at the Knicks. OG can play the three. You can move him up one in certain rotations. You really just have Cat and Mitch right now that are your two bigs. I think there's absolutely an opportunity for Yabusele not to play the 27 minutes he had in Philly, but to play 18, 20, maybe 25 on some nights when his three ball's falling.
Interesting take. Very interesting take. I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Ryan.
Well, like UJ Ellis, like I didn't really get to see Yabusele too much this past season. I saw him in spurts when the Sixers were on TV. I know that he played good last season. Like that's about as far as I know about Yabusele. Like I know he played good last season. I know that he definitely got playing time last season, and he impressed according to Sixers fans and Sixers media. I know that much. As for his fit with the Knicks, I haven't watched enough of his game to really know if he's a good fit or not, but I trust, Lee's judgment. Lee has shown that he knows ball. So if Lee says he would be a good fit on the Knicks, I'm more likely to, believe Lee than to not believe him. So I got to go with what Lee said. I'll look into it more as well. I'll look into his game more and see what he got to offer on the court.
Yeah. Lee has a pretty decent track record with the free agents. The only... Yeah, he has pretty... Maybe like one miss, but like... I'll say one miss, but like 5 or 6, like... Yeah.
I'm not shooting civil rights numbers. Come on,
shooting civil rights. It's high. It's high enough. It's high enough for me to go. Okay, let me investigate.
Yeah.
Well, I like that he complements both Mitch and Cat. If you think about him at the 4, right? If Mitch is truly the 5, as Fritz has predicted, and he said Josh Hart is a last starter that needs to be replaced, you want to find someone who can skill set complements both Cat and Mitch. That's hard because they're such polar opposite players.
Right.
But the 3 ball, the touch, and the 2 assists a game show he can be a blend with Mitch, and then the toughness, the 5.6 rebounds, and the grittiness and size at 6'8", he can fit with Cat in that pre-switch action and get Cat out of the pick and roll and have someone who can actually defend the rim. Crucial to the Knicks defense, no matter who the coach is. That's going to be a mainstay of our defensive identity because Cat is so porous in the pick and roll with Brunson. So to me, I think he fits both. It's very rare to find someone who does. Horford's another one who does fit both, but I like Yabusele for his youth and his upside.
Agreed. Okay. I'm checking out. Youth and upside, defense and threes. That's what I like. That's all those magic words that I like. All right. Youth, upside, defense, threes. All the buzzwords for me. All right. Yep. And somebody said y'all forgot Pregame Daddy. I did not forget Pregame Daddy. Daddy. This is free agency. So we did not forget the guys that are on the bench already. We just talking about the guys who are available. And if anything, one of the things that I actually see really is opportunity for Pregame this season, considering we're getting a guard and possibly a center power forward, that I kind of feel like there's room to get some minutes at that wing spot, especially considering you got Deuce who's going to be playing. You know what I'm saying? You have Jordan Clarkson who's going to be more of a combo guard. You need a wing. You need a wing. So maybe Pacome can steal some minutes. So that I have not forgot about Pacome at all. All right. All right. We talked about some of the free agents available and what the Knicks want in free agency. We can't forget, while all this is going on, the Knicks haven't quite picked a coach yet, which is pretty peculiar, you know. But we did get some coaching news recently, and the news that we got was this: Mike Brown, man. The news has been that Mike Brown is kind of emerging as a favorite per se, and we can only assume this because he has been granted a second interview. That's right, Mike Brown has been granted a second interview. And on the flip side, Ian Begley reports, he says, I'm curious to see if Taylor Jenkins gets a second interview. I hadn't heard as much support or enthusiasm for Jenkins as I had for Mike Brown in that interview process the first go round. Things that make you go, which makes you believe that Mike Brown is the favorite and he's in the driver's seat. For those of you who kind of saw the last show, I think we were more leaning towards Taylor. To me and to the rest of the guys, I felt like the defensive acumen of him kind of fell short when he went to Sacramento. There were some other concerns about how effective he is coaching a team, and his voice wearing out over time. So I want to ask you guys how do you feel about it, but I kind of feel like I already know how you feel. Especially Lee has rain clouds raining as I'm announcing this news. So Lee, man, what's how you feel, man?
Horribly disappointed in him being the front runner. I understand Tom Thibodeau need to go. No more arguing, right? Like since that news, you have not seen him coming on here and cry tears about Big Daddy Tibbs. He's gone. Chill. All right, cool. Moving on. We need an upgrade. Like I don't think just a different voice is an upgrade. I don't believe in that theory because we have seen some coaches step into roles and absolutely tank a franchise. I think we really needed a strategic, a verbal, and creative change from what Tom Thibodeau was. And when I think about those three things, Mike Brown is the black Tom Thibodeau. So what are we doing here? The man has done absolutely jack shit since leaving Cleveland. And we went to the finals. People were like, but he went to the finals. My man got swept. How many finals matchups was there a sweep? Very rarely do you see a team not give any ounce of heart or have any level of adjustments to win one game at home at elimination. He wasn't even able to do that with LeBron James on the team. I know the rest of the roster. I know it was in the Spurs, but can't win one game. And since then, you've done nothing of note or worth in the postseason. To me, he comes into a franchise. He establishes culture. He builds repetition and good habits. He becomes a voice of reason and one that cuts through and reaches guys to play the best basketball of their career. He takes teams to the playoffs the first time in years. Sounds like someone else I know. We did all that. We're good. We need a guy who can get us there. And when we need to make that change, he's willing to make that change. And he makes a change the fans aren't even aware of because he knows 10 times more than we do. I've never seen the proof in the pudding for that to be Mike Brown. This is not an upgrade. This is a lateral move. It is not a downgrade. It's a lateral move. To me, Mike Brown is a reason he continues to be fired, and a reason why he loses locker rooms. He's not just fired. He loses the locker room. He lost the locker room in LA. He lost the locker room in Cleveland, and he lost the locker room in Sacramento. That also reminds me of Tom Thibodeau. I wanted someone young, I wanted someone creative, and I wanted someone who would be a risk taker, someone who would take chances with things that we haven't seen before, and we ain't getting it, Bears.
I'm not gonna hold you, man. I agree 100%, bro. Like I kind of feel like he got his reputation right on the coattails of LeBron James. Like I'm not gonna hold you. LeBron James has the reputation of being the player's coach, a guy who can make decisions on the fly and kind of manipulate an offense and defense because of his intelligence. And I feel like that's how they got to the finals in the first place. I'm not gonna hold you because after he left LeBron, he hasn't gone back since. And like Lee said, he's lost many locker rooms. So I'm if we losing Tiz, I'm like, I'm not sold, man. It's like, really? This is what we're doing it for? I'm not gonna hold you. I'm a root for him like I root for every other coach if he ends up being the coach, but that's just honestly how I feel about it.
Yeah, this feels like the easy answer. Like if they fired Tibbs and they came back 2 days later and they said Mike Brown, okay, I got it. But like you scoured. You said you went top to bottom. You turned over every rock and you came back with Mike Brown. I just like that's my problem with it. Like if you're gonna say we're gonna be innovative, there's a lot of new coaches with new blood in the NBA. I thought that's what we were getting. That's what I'm still hoping we're getting. But if this was your answer, you could have gave us this answer 48 hours after you fired Tibbs.
They were waiting for Jason Kidd, and now the door is closing. That's what it seems like it's happening. They were waiting for Jason Kidd, man. And now this is pissing me off.
I'm just gonna throw out some stats right quick, and because Lee and Fritz pretty much said everything as to why Mike Brown isn't the choice for this team, and I'm just gonna throw out some stats right quick to prove why he's not the right coach for this team. So under the years with LeBron James, he did have that 1 year where he did win the Eastern Conference championship with the Cavaliers, but then got lost in the final sweep. To be fair, it was against the Spurs, against Greg Popovich, who's probably the best coach of all time. We get that. All right, and LeBron was still young. LeBron didn't grow into that pillar that he became later on in his career. The following season, after the Cavaliers made the finals, the Cavaliers finished the season. Well, not the following season. The season after that, 66-16. Clearly the best team in the East. What happens? They lose in the Eastern Conference Finals against the Celtics. Forward to the following season, Cavaliers 61-21. Again, clearly best team in the East. What happens that season? Losing the semifinals against the Orlando Magic, who eventually went on to the NBA Finals that season. When he was with the Lakers, same thing. 41-25. 5-7 in the playoffs, got eliminated in the semifinal. Next season, only played 5 games and was fired. Only coached 5 games and was fired. And then after that, his next head coaching job was with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Terrible season, 33-49, fired after that season. Then the next head coaching job he got was with the Sacramento Kings. 48-34. Ends up getting knocked out in 7 games against the Golden State Warriors. So to me, it's like, okay, I get it. We're moving on from Thibs, and you're going to bring in somebody else to take the reins that you're hoping can at least lift this team to a championship. What has Mike Brown really done in his career that shows that he'll be able to lift this team to a championship? Even his years in Cleveland, he had a generational talent in LeBron James and couldn't get it done. So to me, it's like, okay, if we're gonna veer away from Thibs, why not bring in a guy, a young, fresh voice with fresh ideas to kind of, give the players like something like different, that they're used to, somebody that can, take control of a team and like a leader of men and that have a different voice, different ideas, and can get the guys to follow him and buy in and things of that nature. Mike Brown is just a recycled coach, like, who has not had success everywhere he went. So it's like, if you're going to fire Thibs, why go with a coach like that? Switch it up.
Yeah. Shouts Ron G, man. I agree, man. I agree. I agree. This whole coaching search has been pissing me off. The fact that we're even looking for free agents without a coach is kind of irritating, to be honest with you. But we are here right now. Hopefully they figure it out. I'm hoping that Taylor Jenkins gets another crack at it. Shoot, even the assistant coach from the Timberwolves, I'm hoping he gets us a second interview. I just feel like there's other options out there. If you're going to fire somebody who is Tom Thibodeau, who's been, his complaint has been he doesn't adjust and he comes from that same old tree. Why get another same old? Like let's try something a little bit different and make the firing worth it by trying something different.
Yeah, it's not a good look when you haven't had the full support of the two best players in the last 25 years, in LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, two guys that he coached as head coaches in his stops in Cleveland and LA. It's not a good look that you were the coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, and then when discussions begin that LeBron might go back to Cleveland, they fired your ass so that you wouldn't be a part of a team because LeBron was like, "I'll come back," but that bum's gotta go. And what they fired him. They hired David Blatt. To me, there's a lot of signals there you can see. Yes, you have to infer. Yes, you have to assume, but it's fairly easy to read the room in those two situations in LA. I mean, there's a lot of complaints even in LA. The man, and he's ran the Princeton offense and it both all three stops before of his Kings. When he came to the Kings, it was still a shell of the Princeton offense. So that's when he really emphasized the dribble handoff. And he started getting a lot of the role players going, opposed to just running the first and second options in the set between his best players. So he didn't have a LeBron Kobe. Now he had Fox and Sabonis. So he had to mix it up. But the LA departure was all about an overemphasis on the Princeton offense, doing something too much when the personnel wasn't the right motion players to be utilizing. You had Kobe Bryant and a bunch of bums. It needed to be something to where the other guys had opportunities to get easy buckets. And that offense was constantly a trigger point in the media, in the news, and in press conferences about it not working. It eventually led to his departure. That sounds like Tom Thibodeau in drop coverage, something that he has used as a crutch throughout his career. Even if the personnel doesn't fit it, he still tries to make that a part of the offense. And I'm sure that Leon Rose is salivating the thought of everyone moving off ball and setting off ball screens and coming off curls, and all that sounds great, but do we have the personnel that can be maximized to that? Or do we actually need somebody who runs the offense through Karl-Anthony Towns and get Jalen Brunson off ball? We don't know. But I do know what he runs. And what he runs has gotten him fired in 3 locations.
The only thing I will say is, as a positive, I do feel like Cat offensively might eat under Mike Brown. That's the only thing I will say. Considering how he's kind of used to bonus, I do feel like Cat can eat under Mike Brown. But I still feel like we're not going to get over a hump when we have him as a coach.
It's hard to argue. I was arguing with someone on Twitter today about Mike Brown. They were like, "Yeah, but Mike Brown, man, he's won 4 championships as an assistant coach." And I was like, "But like, as an assistant coach?" I mean, I never used Tom Thibodeau's assistant coach championship in arguments about why we should keep him and why he's good. I mean, I like to put the emphasis on the head coach. If Tibbs would have won a championship, I'm not saying Larry Greer, bro. Sony's don't hire Larry Greer because he's been on Tibbs' staff this whole time and we won a championship. He must be a beast. No one's talking about Ron Adams, who won 4 championships as Steve Kerr's longest assistant. Like, context is important. Being an assistant matters. It shows you can bring something to a coaching staff. But just because he's won as assistant doesn't make him a championship caliber coach at the head of the snake.
Also, if Mike Brown, he's gonna have to explain to me how he used Keon Ellis last year. He's gonna have to explain to me how he used Keegan Murray last year. When those are the young guys who are supposed to be coming up and taking over. Aren't we start kind of on that same thing with the Knicks, where we have young kids who need to play and should be kind of promoted? I really, yeah, I would really need explanation on that one.
That's the point.
Wait, what the heck? Okay. I thought I saw something worth mentioning, but it's not. Sorry. I'm on Nick's Twitter. I was like, wait, what? Malik Monk? Oh, never mind. Okay.
Oh man.
Oh man. But yeah, in conclusion, man, I'm down on my. I'm hoping we get somebody else.
Can I ask a question to y'all 3?
Sure.
If we hire Mike Brown, if he is hired, does your opinion change at all about Leon Rose?
It's a hit for sure. Like, listen, you're gonna as a courtesy, you're gonna have to give him a full season two tops to like prove it and prove me wrong. But from his track record and what I've seen so far, as recently with Sacramento, I would scratch my head and go like, why the hell would you do this? I need to see tapes of the actual interview and meeting or something to make me be convinced that he really outperformed everybody. Because like, what the hell? Like maybe he just really charmed somebody. I don't know.
Well, for
Yeah,
me, I'll just go right quick. Well, for me, it's not going to change my opinion about him as a whole, but I will take it as kind of a hit just from the simple fact that I thought that Leon was a bit more innovative, as a GM, president of basketball operations. Like I would have thought that, you know, he would have, try to get somebody who could like more transform the team, like to go with somebody with fresh ideas and things of that nature. Like for me to see that, okay, went with Thibs, which at the time Thibs was understandable. The team was bad. The team needed some structure. Thibs provides that. So I could understand the Thibs hiring from the beginning, but now you have a championship team, and then you decide to go with Mike Brown, a recycled coach that hasn't really had great success at his stops. And there was a lot of criticisms like about his offense and things of that nature. To me, I would take it as a hit to his reputation, but not as a whole though. Like I think he's done way too much good for like one coaching hire for him to all of a sudden be brought down as some you know bad like GM or whatever the case may be.
Yeah,
Fritz?
yeah, I would see it as one of his glaring misses because like I can't look at this if he hired Mike Brown, I couldn't see this as this is what he was going for. He had to be going for something different. So I would have to look at it as somewhat of a miss.
especially considering like all right after Thibodeau was fired, I was like, all right, cool. Who do you get next? That was my thing. Like, who do you get next? That's going to be an upgrade over Thibodeau. It looked like we were scrambling to find anybody asking, and it still kind of looks. It still looks like we kind of crazy looking when it comes to the coach, man. I'm like, it looks crazy to me. It does.
It
Like
does.
it looks
Yeah.
like we didn't have a fully developed plan. We were flying by the seat of our pants. We was hoping that Jason Kidd would shake loose. It didn't happen, and now we're going for a Tibbs copy, a doppelganger. So that looks crazy to me. Sorry to be
Yeah.
not
Yeah,
inspirational than off season and
it's
give hope. But
yeah, it's definitely a miss to me because you can justify with a young coach and say, hey, we just wanted to go in a new direction, someone who's more down with analytics. You can justify it easily. You could justify it, even if that person is not better than Thibodeau. But when you got a retread coach who has questions and doesn't do anything elite, that's when, okay, yeah, this didn't quite work out the way we wanted it.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree with all y'all. I would probably take it a step further. I think it would really change my opinion on Leon Rose because it's so embarrassing when you're the only team with a coaching vacancy and you have considerable amount of time. You have most of the options of the guys who have been let go or assistants, and you choose someone that anyone could have picked up in Mike Brown. You don't go for an assistant when no one else is competing for their job. Like that to me is embarrassing. On top of the fact that you didn't have a lead assistant coach in the wings waiting to take over upon Tom Thibodeau's firing. You had Rick Brunson's dusty ass at the end of the bench. No one wants the best player's daddy coaching the whole team. That shit is embarrassing as hell. He's never given any indication that he can be a head coach in this league. He's problematic. He has a checkered past. That's not someone you want as a head coach. Why did you make him lead assistant? To appease him? to appease big head Brunson, right? All of that is embarrassing to me. I don't think there's any good you can take out of that whole situation. There's no young guy on the bench. The youngest guy is Dai Yashimoto, and no one's interviewing him for a janitor position. So what the hell are we really doing in terms of developing a coaching tree? It's just Tibbs and a bunch of bums. That's embarrassing. So to me, it's not just the fact that we didn't have a coach immediately or one lined up. It's the steps that were embarrassing to get to this point as well. And to not choose a young, fresh assistant like Jenkins or Mike Nori. Mike Nori is always at the top of the athletic poll for best assistant coach. That would have been the perfect inversion of always having the guy for the last 5 years who no one wants to play with, according to the players, to the guy that everyone wants to play with, according to the players, and not the guy that has ran dudes out of town, like De'Aaron Fox. This is, to me, an embarrassing on many levels. I don't hate Leon. I'm not saying fire Leon. I'm not going to fire up a space with 0 people in there and start yelling at myself. But I do think that this is a stain on Leon Rose's record. And I think it's worthy of him being criticized fairly harshly for if Mike Brown is hired.
First and foremost, I want to give Lee props for that rant right there, because that rant was so damn excellent. Because he gave a lot of great points, and at the same time, the jabs he threw like Big Head Brunson and Dice Yashimoto's not even being interviewed for a janitor job. I was like, yo,
Yo, man, I appreciate that, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always been saying these things just to myself in an empty room. So now that I have a podcast, I can crack these jokes to an audience. So it really feels good to actually have someone laugh besides my dog just look sideways at me. Yeah, I'm thankful for the audience. Appreciate y'all.
Oh man. Yeah, I think it's safe to say we're not for Mike Brown. Hopefully we get somebody else.
What if Taylor Jenkins is hired as a lead assistant? Does that make you feel a little bit better about the situation?
No, I need Mike Brown to be the assistant. I don't need him making big decisions. Hey, Mike Brown has won. Wait, didn't he win a bunch of championships being the assistant? I'd rather have him be the assistant.
exactly, facts. Yeah, like, yo, let's reverse that.
Yeah. Obviously, it's been working. You do your little offense thing. Second, third in command. That's what you do, right? That's how I see it. You be the relationship guy, or I don't know what. That's what you do, all right? Yeah. Not the head guy. That's how I see it.
Oh,
right. Yeah. Can we talk about Nick Richards? I've seen him being mentioned sporadically in the chat. I've seen him. Hi guys. Hi. Hey, this is Jailus here. Listen, I just wanted to say that I know a lot of you guys love offense. But I think you guys have to realize that we also need defense. And what you also have to realize is we have Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson in the starting lineup. And we need guys who can cover for them. It's cool that Nick Richards can block shots. But at a certain level, you start to realize that blocking shots does not necessarily equate to defense. That is why Phoenix has been so bad for these last few years. Because as many shots as he's blocking, his defense has been atrocious. And it's been pointed out as being inconsistent. And they've used the word defensive liability. So do you want a defensive liability next to 2 defensive liabilities? And one of those defensive liabilities happens to be like one of the worst defensive centers in the world. And Jalen Brunson's had like big bad stints of like almost a whole season of being bad. So I think you guys have to calm down with trading Deuce McBride, who is our best point of attack defender on the team, for a guy who is another liability.
I think that, first of all, I needed that sermon really bad because I've been arguing with people have really shown their ass on Twitter today, literally telling me straight up defense doesn't matter. My friend Steve from the Sporting News, Steve Seminary told me straight up the Knicks aren't going anywhere with defense. Screw defense. Go get me someone who can make the shot. And I'm going to have my friend on the show, and we're going to talk about basketball, and I'm going to bring that to him and make him explain himself. That's the most ass crack take I've heard in a long time. Defense wins look who won the championship this year. Statistically, the best defense in NBA history. Defense wins championships. Me and Raw didn't agree on everything, but we definitely agreed on that. It is the foundation for every great championship, and every great dynasty is a defensive champion based on D. It's how the Detroit Pistons upset the Lakers in 2004. It's how the 16 Cleveland Cavaliers beat the 16 Warriors. It's how upsets happen. It's how Dallas beat the Big Three in Miami was with defense. You got to have defense. And ball screens are at an all-time high in their usage. Offenses have never been more creative than they are now. This is not the 80s where a center can just stand in the paint and guard a post-up. Centers are guarding guards on switches. Yeah. Centers are guarding wings on switches. Centers are having to guard jab steps, pump fakes, pivots, footwork. They have to be able to stay in front of their man. You can't have two bums in the front court that are getting blown by like giant inflatable cones. You got to have someone who can hold their man in front of them. And if your pick and roll is compromised with Brunson and Cat, you want to throw Nick Richards in the starting lineup or trade Mitch for him? I get it. As a flyer, as a third string, yes. But as a starting lineup or trading Mitch, that is asinine. So I'm ready to take all these bums to task who downplay the importance of defense.
Yo, Jay Ellis, I'm glad you brought up because that was gonna be my prop pick tonight. All these people out here that are saying that the Knicks should trade Deuce McBride, Mitchell Robinson, whoever for Nick Richards. I'm like, yo, I swear to God, these people, this is what they do. They go to basketball stats and be like, oh, let me look at his stats. 9.5 points per game. Good. 60% field goal percentage. Good. 8.2 rebounds a game. Good. And then they're like, you know what? We should go after this guy. And it's like, yo, do you want the Phoenix Suns? Phoenix Suns, see how it defends. God. What the hell would you want to trade Mitchell Robinson, who is leaps and bounds over this dude on defense? Why? Why? Make it make sense.
Cook.
Oh,
Eisenberg.
All I gotta say is the Phoenix Suns traded for him at the deadline. They gave up second round picks, and after only a couple months, they are saying, "I am good," and they are a bad. And they are a bad team. Fact. You don't trade. Yeah, you're not. I'm not trading Mitch. I'm not trading Deuce. You know what?
Trading PJ. All right.
You know what? Because I explained to Jay Ellis earlier. I said no, they're probably going to trade like PJ in a couple seconds. I wouldn't trade PJ in a couple seconds for him. And you're renting him. You're renting him for a year. Like no.
And for the record, watch Mitchell Robinson play defense this season, guarding centers, wings, guards, and then go, you know what we want to trade him for? Like a cone. Like, I don't understand. The great, and just for the record, I know the Denver Nuggets won the championship, but teams who win championships are usually top 10 in offense and defense. The only team that hasn't been that in recent history was the Denver Nuggets. And that's an anomaly. If you're a team and you're trying to build a team, you don't want to try to be like the anomaly. You want to be like the field of teams who won the championship for years and years. That's what I say.
That whiteboard I referenced earlier, I have a number one use for it, and I write down every Twitter account that makes most ass crack trades or free agent or trades that have to do with players I know we didn't watch, but he did exactly what Ryan G just said. 11 points, 8 rebounds, 60% shooting. They didn't watch these players once. So I write down every bad body, busty, bumbling bum's name on that list, and I make sure that I block, mute, and then tell them to F off before I push those two buttons. Because it is crucial to protect my peace and crucial to not surround myself with people who know less about ball than the bum that lives outside my apartment complex. That is crucial to my mental, emotional, and sexual well-being.
I don't even know what to say. I don't even know what to say to that.
We need to throw up that blue chew ad right now.
Oh,
Oh. Oh. Where is
oh,
Ebony when you need it? No Diddy. No. Oh. Oh my God. Oh God.
oh, man.
My brain wants to ask a follow-up question, but I'm gonna back out of this. All right.
Off camera, bro.
I'm gonna
No, I
I'm
do
gonna
not
I'm gonna
chew that big
I'm
lead.
gonna back out of
Lead
it.
bubble gum. Don't worry about my sexual health is good, but it gets worse when I have to listen to these bum ass takes. Don't get me Tyus Jones. Bro, Tyus Jones, man. Listen, solid playmaker, great veteran floor leader, showed that he can run a team in Memphis when John Morant was out. Plus minus numbers in Memphis, solid. But when he hit Sacramento and he ran his own team, because screw the Washington inflated numbers on a bad team. Phoenix was a great opportunity for him to play with a Hall of Famer in Beal, Hall of Famer in Booker, Hall of Famer in KD. And my man was the worst defensive point guard in the NBA in the lineups with him and Nick Richards. Bruh, it was like a turnstile. There was no defense being played. Why would you advocate for that if our team is already compromised in two places in the starting lineup? And then off the bench with Josh Hart, too. Why would you want that? Because you didn't watch the Phoenix Suns, because you don't know anything about Tyus Jones, because besides his basketball reference stat line. Again, be better. Watch ball. I've been imploring everybody. Just turn on your TV every now and then, watch some basketball, man. I know your girlfriend might be pissed, or your boyfriend, or whoever it is, but just take some time to talk to actually watch the things you're talking about. Otherwise, you sound like a damn dumbass every time you tweet, man. Stop.
Do it for your health.
Yeah, for
Oh man. Any other news? I mean, look, I feel like we touched on all the Knicks news. I don't think anything has popped up since we started potting. I think we're gonna get some free agency news tomorrow about the Knicks. I think probably maybe we'll get an actual coach tomorrow. That'd be nice. Any other news you guys want to touch? I know there's been a little bit of buzz about what the Houston Rockets are doing. Houston Rockets actually look pretty scary.
yes.
Thank God they're
Yeah.
out west. The Hawks are making some moves.
Memphis also.
Yeah, Memphis is making some moves. Orlando's making some moves.
Yeah, also like what the Nuggets did as well.
It's gonna be a very interesting NBA season so far.
I see some some Brooklyn fans celebrating that they just took on like 20 more million a year for like an older shooter. I just yeah. Brooklyn's going Brooklyn. Brooklyn's going Brooklyn.
Brooklyn is going to Brooklyn. They fans don't even know how much trouble they're in. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
That's the funny part. All that gloating about how many picks they got, and they did nothing with them. They did nothing with them. Shooting blanks. Bunch of bullets shooting blanks. So they're gonna find out in about 3 or 4 years that they still suck.
Kind of like the Atlanta Hawks. I think all their moves have been extremely overrated today. It's cool that they're making moves and not standing pat, because after the DeJounte Murray total failure of a trade, I believe that trade was pulled off by Landry Fields, bum ass. How can you be worse as a GM than you were as a player? I don't know if I've ever seen that before. That is incredible, to be unbelievably ass crack at both jobs you were hired to do as a professional at the top of your field. Horrible GM, horrible player. Shout out Wilson Chandler, man. I wish we would have kept you. But the move that he made when he was GM got them into the lottery. And now I'm not even sure who it is who's in that front office spot. But I ain't going to fight the funk. But they're doing some good moves today to be active to surround Trey and Jalen. Getting Luke Kennard, I believe it was Luke Kennard on bare minimum, going in and trading for KP and adding who was Fritz, the other guy that they added today. Those are good moves. It does not make them a championship team, in my opinion, because you don't have a number one first option, champion first option. Trae Young is not a first option. He never will be. I doubt he's even a second championship option. I'm not convinced of that based on his efficiency splits for his entire career, how much of a cone he is on defense. I also am very high on Jalen Johnson, but I don't think he has championship first level option. 2 at most, which means you're in the same place that Memphis is in, that Houston was in last year, that Dallas has been in. You don't have someone post Luka. You don't have someone who can win a championship as a first option. So again, I like Orlando better because they have Banchero. I like Cleveland better because they have Donovan Mitchell. I like the Knicks better because they have Jalen Brunson. Those things matter. And I think that Atlanta has gotten to be a better team, but you're depending a lot on KP's health. Otherwise, you're back to having undersized Okongwu at the 5. You're depending on Luke Kennard to guard who? I got 3 screenshots, people saying the perfect fit Luke Kennard in New York. I'm like, bro, again, have you ever watched Luke Kennard? Bro, do you remember what Steve Novak was? Imagine Steve Novak slightly quicker, a little bit faster. That's Luke Kennard, bro. He can shoot with a hand in space, but he can't put the ball on the floor on a tight defense, and he can't outrun and defend anybody. So why are you going to add him to a compromised team? I like what the moves they made, but damn it, it's been overrated. Quinn Snyder has never been out of the second round. All of a sudden, now he's going to win a championship. Let's just keep seeing shit real, man. Please watch more basketball.
Yeah, I think really the big move, which is the KP move, always looks great on paper, but that's the problem with KB. He looks great on paper because you already pencil in he's gonna miss 30 games or more, and he can't seem to get through a playoff series, whether it be injury or bird flu. There's always something up with him.
Bird flu. Damn.
Yeah. That was hilarious.
I'm just saying, he had some bad chickens or something. He was sick though. Like he's never healthy. He's
the first white guy to get Ebola.
Wow.
The trainer for 2 second round, bro. That traded for George Dane. Come on, bro. What the hell is wrong with you health wise? It's incredible. Mystery illness, man. That's what it was reported as mystery illness.
Yeah.
Sounds like that outbreak a couple years ago. You know what I mean? Just saying.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. Get well soon, KP. Get well soon.
Get well soon.
One day we'll find a cure.
Over there.
Yeah, I feel like KP's one of those players like yo, Jealous, would you ever have KP back on the Knicks? I would have him on the Knicks after his contract is over. For a lot cheaper.
Sign him on the MLE.
Exactly.
Mid-level exception.
MLE, yo. Because, bro, Pentil, you went to miss 50 games a season. That's crazy.
You're right, man. You're right.
Knicks won the trade, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember when the trade happened, and I was live on air after the trade, and I was like, hey guys, I know it sucks right now, and I know everybody's crying because we traded KP, but at the same time, we don't know who's gonna win this trade from years later, and we won the trade. We won the trade. People call me crazy right now, but right now, you're probably saying Jealous is right.
Yep.
All right. Yo, that's the show, guys. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say, but I'm cool on free agency. I'm just waiting for some news to drop. I'm pretty sure the Jordan Clarkson news will be official at some point, but I'm really curious to see who the Knicks signed for that mid-level exception. That's what I'm looking at.
Oh, yeah. Good question.
Definitely.
So, yeah, man, we'll catch you next show. You want to say something, Lee?
Fritz, do we have to use the MLE?
No, you can't. We don't.
Okay. So it's possible we might not use it.
Yeah, it's possible you might not use it. You can use it in the middle of the season. Doesn't matter.
Interesting. Okay. That's good to
Things
know.
that make you go,
That's good to know.
use it in the middle of the season, wait to see who shakes loose.
Right?
That might be the move. Boring
Yeah.
move, not newsworthy. Could be the move. Stay tuned.
I really hope Shamit's re-signed. I think of all the guys that are free agents, I really hope we bring back Shamit, and I hope we start Shamit. I'm bringing that back again. Shamit should be the starting two guard. I think he's the target. Keep Hart on the bench, keep Deuce on the bench, Carts on the bench. Start Landry Shamit the two. He showed defense. Let him be the point of attack defender, and let Bridges not have to navigate so many screens every game on the defensive end. Let him be able to concentrate on offense more, and make Shamit have that assignment.
I vote for Mitch starting or Deuce starting.
That's fine too.
That's my vote. Alongside everybody else. That's how I see
No
it.
argument.
But definitely bring back Shaman. Shaman Hive in effect, for real.
There's no concern from you guys that are no extension for Mitch.
Oh, wait a minute. We do have to talk about that. I'm not super concerned as of yet, only because there's been no news on McCall either. I would think there would be something for both. Like I can't see the Knicks not extending both. You know what I'm saying? So it makes me feel like they're just trying to get other things in order. Maybe, but I haven't hit the button yet. We all do know though, if you don't get extended by the Knicks, more likely than not, you get traded. That has just been the pattern. So
Yes.
definitely keep an eye out for that all summer. That there was no Mitch extension, and we haven't seen the Cal extension yet either. So let's keep an eye on those things.
Yeah, I think it's a situation where I think the Knicks are just keeping the options open at the moment. Those guys could be possible trade pieces in case, somebody does pop up that the Knicks do want. I do think once the Knicks have their team settled and they know that this is the team they want to go forward with, then I think that's when they extend those guys if they're still with the team after those moves have been made. So I think the Knicks are just keeping the options open at the moment.
Actually, Ryan, that might be a good point because there was one report. Not sure how credible it is or not, but they did mention the Knicks. I think the Knicks, Heat, and I forgot what other team was mentioned, are kind of just staying away from big moves just in case something happens with Giannis. Considering, and listen, Giannis and the Bucks just lost Brook Lopez to the Clippers. So it looks like trying to reshape things over there. And if Giannis is sitting back going, okay, we know Dame, he's not 100% healthy. We're losing pieces. I mean, they got Torian Prince. Maybe that helps him stay. I don't know. But maybe if he looks at the landscape and goes, I don't want to be here anymore, then it could make sense why Mitch and McCall might not be extended yet, because they'd be like, well, why extend them where we can just flip them for Giannis and have them deal with it? Maybe could be it.
Losing Mitch would be a cataclysmic mistake. Trading Mitch would be a cataclysmic mistake. Y'all know how I feel. Hashtag never trade Mitch. There's no one on this roster who can do anything close to what he does at his size. It would be so much pressure on OG and everything all the time, every game. So I hope that we're able to re-sign Mitch. And if we trade him, man, there's not really many options he can do what he does besides Jonathan Isaac. Might be the only one. Otherwise, you're getting someone who is going to be way less valuable on that end of the floor. So,
I mean, if it's a Giannis trade, then
yeah, for sure.
I get it. Because then you can do Giannis next to Cat, and you'll be all right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I haven't seen enough rumors to make me think Giannis is available as of yet.
Yeah, I'm not saying he is available or not. I'm just saying that it could be a reason why you're not seeing extension news. This is just throwing stuff at the wall.
Yeah, and reports did come out saying that he's open at the moment to look at different destinations. So I mean, it's not a sure thing. He didn't say that he wants to be traded as of yet, but they're saying that he's open. So with teams hearing that, I think teams are going to be a bit reluctant to make any moves until they know for certain whether Giannis is going to stay or not.
Right. Exactly. Including the Knicks. All right. All right. Not thank you, Fritz, for reminding me to talk about the extension news, because that definitely slipped my mind. All right. That is the show officially. Thank you guys for watching. Fritz, let them know where they can find you, man.
Fritz handles on Twitter, NBA Academy Show on YouTube. Yeah, there's a lot going on. We see reshaping East, reshaping the West. So yeah, we're gonna stay up to date on that.
All right. Lee, let them know where they can find you, Lee.
Catch me on Twitter, beefing every day with bad body, busty, bumbling bums, at _ Lee Escobedo, LeeEscobedo, or catch me here on the KOT show. We got a great draft show coming on Wednesday tomorrow.
Tomorrow, 5:30 is confirmed.
With my main man, Urson Demir. He always brings it. He is one of the most knowledgeable draft scouts I've ever even listened to. He is, you can bring up a name and he'll give you real time, eye test data on what he's seen. And it's usually pretty spot on as well. So I'm excited to talk about Dink Pate with him tomorrow.
All right. And of course, you already know we got our guy Ryan G. Let him know where we can find you, sir.
You can find me on Twitter at RyanGKOT. You can also find me on Instagram at Sir G is chilling.
Sir J is chilling.
That's SIR. G is CHILLIN.
All right. You can also find us at the KOT Show on Twitter, the Knick of Time Show on Instagram, and the Knick of Time Show on Facebook as well. Also, SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher, and TikTok. All right. Don't forget the TikTok. All right. Thank you guys for watching. That's the show. We are out of here, and as always,
shout out the worldwide West. Everywhere we go, we leave a worldwide mess.
It's a mess out here in these Knicks streets. That's the show. We out of here.
Peace.
York, New York, big city of dreams. New York, big city of dreams.